Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're firing up the engines on a true legend, the 2025 Fat Boy Harley-Davidson. You're here to cut through the noise, get the essential info, maybe, snag a few of those aha moments. Think of this as your high-octane fuel line to understanding everything you need to know about this ultimate power cruiser.
Yeah, and we have a great single source fueling our exploration today. It's an article titled 2025 Fat Boy Harley-Davidson, the Ultimate Power Cruiser. So our mission is basically to dissect this iconic machine. We want to pull out the critical insights into its power, its instantly recognizable style, the tech it brings, and of course, comfort. And we'll even see how it stacks up against some competitors.
Okay, let's get into it then. The Fat Boy. I mean, the name itself just sounds powerful, doesn't it? The article really hits it right away, calling it the ultimate power cruiser, combining raw muscle with timeless style. It's clearly more than just getting from A to B. It's making a statement.
Exactly. It's one of Harley-Davidson's most, enduring and recognizable models. That heritage carries a lot of weight. And the source underscores this right off the bat. It's synonymous with bold design, serious performance. The core appeal, I think, for a lot of riders is that potent mix, that raw power wrapped up in a design that just looks, well, classic cool.
And the engine sounds pretty serious. We're talking about the Milwaukee-Eight 117 V-twin. That's some muscle.
It absolutely is. That engine is really the heart of this bike. And the article rightly emphasizes the torque it generates, a pretty hefty 125 pound-feet. For you, the rider, what that means is that immediate punch when you twist the throttle, that strong, effortless pull. It's really that torque that defines the Fat Boy's character, gives you that effortless acceleration the article mentions. And, while the horsepower around 93 is certainly decent, it's that torque curve, especially low down, that cruiser fans often want for that satisfying real-world ride feel.
Yeah, 93 horsepower isn't exactly weak. And the article mentions a spine-tingling exhaust note, a thunderous sound. That rumble is such a huge part of the Harley thing, right?
It really is. That sound, the whole auditory experience, is integral to what these bikes are. It's not just about getting there, it's about the feeling, that visceral sound along the way. The source also points out the oil-cooled design of the engine. That's pretty crucial for keeping performance consistent, especially on longer rides or in hotter weather. Ensures the power stays reliable.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk looks. The Fat Boy has such a unique visual identity. What are the main things that make it so recognizable?
Well, the article highlights several key things. That solid disc Lakester front wheel is paramount. It really gives it that aggressive planted stance that's so Fat Boy. Then obviously you have the fat tires. They don't just give the bike its name, they really bulk up that muscular look. And you can't miss the chrome accents everywhere. That's classic cruiser style, adds that traditional gleam.
Interesting, though, that even with all that bold styling, they mention a minimalist tank badge. That feels like a specific choice.
I think so. It sort of suggests confidence in the overall shape, The bike's identity doesn't need a loud logo. The silhouette and those key parts are already instantly identifiable. It's kind of understated confidence, like, you know who I am.
So it's got the power, the iconic look. But what about underneath all that? What kind of tech are we looking at for 2025?
Right. It's definitely not just relying on old school charm. The Fat Boy packs in some modern tech for today's riders. There's a 4-inch round digital display that's pretty central. Gives you all the key info at a glance: speed, fuel, diagnostics. And the fact it has Bluetooth and navigation built in now is a big plus for convenience.
That integration is pretty standard now, but good to see. And it's not just about info, right? The article mentioned rider aids, too.
Exactly. Cruise control is included, which is a nice touch for comfort on longer rides, reduces fatigue. And ABS, the anti-lock braking system, that's a really critical safety feature, especially on a bike this big and powerful. Also worth mentioning is the electronic fuel injection, EFI. That just means more reliable starting, better throttle response, and better fuel efficiency than older carburetors.
Okay, all that power and style sounds great, but what about actually riding it? Is it comfortable? Can you spend some time on it?
The article does seem to emphasize comfort quite a bit. The seat height is low, just 27.2 inches. That makes it much more accessible for, well, a wider range of people, easier to get your feet down. And the suspension system, that inverted front fork and the hidden rear shocks, that plays a big role in soaking up bumps for a smoother ride. And even though it weighs 684 pounds wet, which is substantial, the wide handlebars give you good leverage for control.
Whoa, 684 pounds. That does sound like a handful. When would a rider really feel that weight?
Yeah, it is a heavy machine. You probably notice it most at really low speeds, like maneuvering in a parking lot, that kind of thing. But The design, the low center of gravity, the leverage from the bars, it's all meant to make it feel more manageable once you're moving. The article even uses that interesting phrase, lightweight handling despite heft, suggests they've really worked on the balance to offset the mass. Plus, that inverted front fork, where the beefier part is at the top, that usually means better stiffness and response, which helps with that feeling of agility they describe.
And Harley-Davidson, they've been around forever. What does this article say about, how well the Fat Boy holds up? Durability, reliability.
Yeah, it touches on that. Harley's reputation for building bikes that last is pretty well known. The article mentions high-quality materials, precision engineering, the usual stuff. The expectation basically is that it'll be pretty robust and reasonably low maintenance, which matters to people buying for the long haul.
Okay, so powerful, stylish, seems comfortable, modern tech, built to last. Sounds good. But how does it do against the competition? The article mentioned a couple of others.
Yes, it brings in the Indian Challenger and the Yamaha Star Venture for comparison. Now, purely on engine output numbers, the Indian Challenger actually has higher horsepower and slightly more torque on paper. But it's important to remember that low-end torque we talked about on the Fat Boy, that often translates to power you feel more immediately in normal riding. The Yamaha Star Venture has similar torque to the Fat Boy, but it's significantly heavier.
Right, so it's not just the peak numbers, how the power comes in and the bike's weight are maybe more important.
Exactly. And that's where the Fat Boy has a bit of an edge. At 684 pounds, it's noticeably lighter than both the Indian, which is nearly 800 pounds, and the Yamaha, which is over 800. That lighter weight generally means it's going to feel more nimble, easier to handle, especially, around town or on twistier roads.
And visually, how do they compare? Styling-wise?
Well, the article kind of reinforces the Fat Boys look iconic, muscular, those solid wheels, fat tires, chrome. The Indian Challenger is described as more touring-focused, so probably bigger fairings for wind protection. And the Star Venture leans even more into luxury touring, probably more features, more storage, built for long-distance comfort. Different vibes entirely.
Okay, and the big question? Price. Where does the Fat Boy fit in? Now, I did notice something a bit odd about the price points in the article itself.
Ah, yeah, good spot. That is a bit confusing. The main spec table lists an estimated price around $22,999. But then the comparison table shows it at $26,999. So yeah, there's a discrepancy right there in the source. Definitely something you'd want to check with the dealer. But even looking at the higher number, it puts the Fat Boy sort of between the Indian Challenger, which is listed a bit lower, and the Yamaha Star Venture, which is listed slightly higher. The article kind of implies its unique mix justifies that spot.
Let's just loop back quickly to design and comfort. The article really plays these up. What stands out to you and how they impact the actual ride?
Well, beyond just looking cool, the ergonomics seem really rider-focused. That low seat helps with confidence, easier stops and starts. The wide bars give good leverage, making it easier to steer than you might expect for its weight. And the article emphasizes again that the balance, the low center of gravity, helps it feel lighter on the move. Plus, that suspension system, the inverted fork, hidden shocks, it's clearly designed to smooth out the ride, make it comfortable even on longer trips.
Okay, and the article had that handy FAQ section too. Let's just run through those quickly. Price.
Yeah, the FAQ section uses the lower figure, $22,999.
Power.
Around 93 horsepower, and that strong 125 pound-feet of torque from the Milwaukee-Eight 117.
Is it okay for beginners?
The low seat and smooth power are helpful, it says. But the weight is definitely something a new rider would need to consider carefully.
How about versus the Indian Challenger again?
Right. Challenger has more peak power and torque on paper. Fat Boy is lighter, has the iconic look, and that strong low-end pull.
Suspension details.
Inverted front fork and the hidden rear shocks. Standard stuff we covered.
Modern tech.
Yep. The 4-inch display, Bluetooth, cruise control, ABS, and the EFI. All standard.
Fuel tank size.
5 gallons. That's about 18.9 liters.
Good for long rides. Touring.
The comfort features make it capable for longer distances, yeah. But it's still more of a powerful cruiser than a dedicated, full-on touring bike.
And the weight again. Is it heavy?
Yes, definitely. 684 pounds wet.
Yeah.
But lighter than some key competitors and designed to handle well despite the heft.
Okay, so bringing it all together then, what are the main takeaways from this deep dive on the 2025 Fat Boy? What should listeners really remember?
Well, I think the 2025 Fat Boy comes across as a really potent mix. It's powerful, super stylish, and it blends that iconic design with modern tech pretty successfully. It offers a comfortable ride, surprisingly manageable handling because of the ergonomics and suspension. And while, yeah, some competitors might have higher peak numbers, the Fat Boy's character comes from that strong, low-end torque, and it's relatively lighter weight in its class. Ultimately, it's a bike that's all about road presence, that classic Harley feel,
Yeah.
but with a powerful and accessible ride.
Right. So hopefully in this relatively short time, everyone listening feels like they've got a much better handle on what the 2025 Fat Boy is all about.
Yeah, exactly. You're definitely better informed now, ready to talk about this iconic bike.
So here's a final thought just to leave you with. Considering how long the Fat Boy has been around, this enduring legacy, and how it keeps blending that classic muscle look with modern performance, what does its continued popularity really tell us? Tell us about the kind of motorcycle, the kind of experience that still captivates riders today, even as things change. What kind of rider is really drawn to this specific combination of power and just sheer presence on the road?